Good evening, at least for Jim it's evening. Right around 6 p.m. for Jim. 90 degrees here. It's been 90 degrees for a few hours here. Been a little bit of a respite on Friday and Saturday, but this is Sunday and the temperature's back up to the 90s. Currently, Jim's under a thunderstorm watch until midnight tonight. Expecting severe weather around 9 or 10 p.m. Don't know what kind of weather you guys have been having. I don't know if you would consider wildfires as weather, but I imagine that all the smoke from them definitely affects the weather there in Canada, in the northern United States. Jim just thought he'd drop by, see how everybody was doing. Give you guys a little bit of an update on Jim. He posted a video earlier Saturday, maybe Friday. A little bit of an update. But he thought he'd drop by and tell you how things have been going. Doing pretty well. Video posted a little bit earlier of some of the activity in the garden. Sunflowers are doing great. Have some morning glories that popped out of nowhere. I mean, obviously they were planted, but I mean, the vines had nothing. I believe on Wednesday and then Thursday I came out and there were morning glories greeting me in all their purple majesty. Of course, if you've seen the zinnias and the black-eyed Susans and the tomato plants, they were determinate, I mean. So that means they bloom once, fruit once, and then they're done. So I still have some green tomatoes on them. So I still got a little bit of a harvest to go, but once that's over, we'll get them out of the ground and look at putting something else in those pots. Jim was trying to work mostly with perennials. Obviously, the tomatoes are not perennials. He has put out some peppers. He has heard that they can be perennials if you bring them in during the colder weather. So we might try that over the winter and see if we can keep them going through the year. They are not green peppers. They are, I believe one is a Scotch bonnet of all things. And I don't remember exactly off the top of my head what the other one is. Jim does have a flower. It's called a Mirabilis Japus, I believe. I don't know off the top of my head. Anyway, its colloquial name is the 4 o'clock flower, and it pretty well works to its name. As the evening cools off, it blooms, and during the morning hours, it is all shut up. So Jim is planning for next year's garden is take some of the seeds from it and place next to the morning glories, so that in the morning we will have the purple morning glories, and then in the evening we'll have these reddish flowers that bloom. Interested to see how that works out. Some of Jim's sunflowers have really over excelled, I think. Have a couple of 6 and 7 foot ones. Have a couple of extremely large headed ones. Jim was going to work on reseeding those. Of course, he would have to reseed them anyway because they are annuals. But get those 6 and 7 foot ones more in the background, and the larger head ones maybe get behind some trellises. Their heads actually get so big that they flop over. So I wanted to see if we can fix that. Jim has an experiment going on. He has something called a small melon. No, it's not called a small melon, but it is a small watermelon. I don't exactly know the hybrid or anything. And actually, I don't think it's a hybrid. I think it's an heirloom. Jim tries to plant mostly heirlooms. He is not completely opposed to hybrids. Some of them have some built-in drought resistance and maybe some BT resistance that or BT tolerance that come in handy. But for the most part, Jim does like to plant the heirloom stuff. And our local library has a seed bank, which I think is sort of interesting because it is an old card catalog. And in each drawer, there's a packet of seeds. And you're free to go in and take some seeds and leave some seeds. So that's sort of interesting. He's hoping to do that with some of the heirlooms. And I think that's a neat thing that our local library has. Jim also has a community college in his town, so he has access to an extension office of the state university, which is University of Kentucky here. Each state has what is called a state university, and it's not necessarily a university that has the word state in it, but it has been designated as a state university, and there's an extension office that runs out of it. And most counties have an extension office or have access to extension office materials. Some of those things are home ec related, sewing, economics, and such like that. Jim's more interested, obviously, in the gardening ones. And they have general things like vegetable gardening, pollinator gardening, and some of the things that explain what is native plants and what is non-native. Jim has tried to plant as much as he can native plants. That Mirabilis japus that he talked about, it is not a native plant. And so that's a little frustrating for him because he does really like that plant. Some of the peppers I know are not necessarily native, and they would do better in the tropics there where they are true perennials. And so we're going to see, like I said, try that project of bringing them in this winter and see how that works. Some of the tomatoes I've grown are Romas, and I'm looking next year to plant some Cherokee Blacks, I believe is the name of the, they have a dark purplish color. I've also seen some other tomatoes I want to try that come out yellow colors and sort of a green striped color. So I think it'll be interesting seeing how those things go. One thing that Jim has done in the garden that just turned out better than he ever expected, because he sort of just did it as a fluke. He had some cucumbers, and so he took a cucumber slice and threw it in one of his beds, and that plant may be doing better than any of my other plants. And that is just somewhat drives Jim crazy that his just thrown in the ground slice of cucumber is doing better than his other cultivated stuff. You guys, I hope are enjoying in America Sunday evening. Maybe over in Europe late Sunday night, early Monday morning. And over in Australia, I'm not even going to try to do the math. Happy Wednesday, August 8th or something. I don't know. You guys are like one day ahead, 18 hours behind or something. I quit trying to do the math a long time ago. Not only are all the creatures in Australia stuff that would kill me, but trying to figure out the math of what time it is there would also kill me. I know. There's probably some device I could tap a button on and it would tell me what time it is in Sydney or what time it is in Adelaide and all those kind of things. But where's the fun in that? Anyway, to those of you in the southern hemisphere, enjoy your cooler temperatures. If you don't mind, and maybe send some of them this way. It is always interesting. It seems like every time you turn around, we're getting weather out of the southwest where it's hot. Would like to get some weather out of the northwest where it's cool. Somebody said, yeah, but if we get the Canadian cool weather, we're going to get, the forest fire smoke. I tell you what, I can wear a mask and deal with the smoke as long as my clothing is not sticking to me as soon as I open my front door, which is currently the status it's at. Our dew points have been in the 70s, and our humidity has been about the same as our temperature. Seems like, our temperatures are 90 and our humidity is 90. You guys think I'm kidding you, but you have not lived in the Midwest. with corn sweat. And trust me, that's a real thing. You can look it up, it would explain it better than I can, but it is hot, it is humid, and it is. They use words on the weather forecast like muggy and stuff like that. I use words like oppressive and ridiculous and stupid. I think those fit better than words like muggy. So, just not a whole lot of excitement going on in Jim's world because it is so ridiculously hot. Um, it's just too hot to get out and do anything. It's too hot to get out and breathe. Um, like I said, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we had a little bit of a reprieve. The first number in our temperatures was a 7, so that means it was in the 70s overnight. Got into the 50s one night, I believe. It Jim may be getting ready to go outside and see if he can get you guys some weather. Sounds like I'm hearing the alarm system go off for the weather, and so you guys maybe get to see a video of some weather later. Um, Thanks you guys for sticking around for these 10 minutes with Jim as he just meanders and talks about nothing. Yeah, you guys have a good day, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Take care.